Michael Jordan is not only the best basketball player, but he's the most exciting basketball player to ever play.
Tatum fires away, pumps it in, 51 for Jayson Tatum.
The Big Three NBA podcast is powered by PrizePicks, the exclusive daily fantasy partner of the CLNS Media Network.
Welcome to another edition of the Big Three NBA podcast. Here's Sherrod Blakely. I'm with Gary Washburn. Kwani Luna's still on the inactive list. Gary, we're gonna have to start calling her Kwani Leonard. Man, when's she gonna get back?
Start calling her Joel Embiid.
Exactly, Kwani Embiid.
Yeah.
Facts. Man, it's been a minute. But the train got to keep moving. Because that's what we do. And the same thing applies to the Celtics. I mean, I had that, really, I think, let's be honest and call it what it is. It was a bad loss to the Hawks, a Trae Young-less Hawks team. But they bounced back with a good win over Brooklyn. They sit at 10-3, second best record in the East to Cleveland. A big part of what they do, Gary, and you know this as well as anyone, is that three ball. They love the three ball, averaging more than 50 three-point attempts a game. How comfortable are you with them in that number, Gary? I mean, 53 is damn. How comfortable are you with them being able to win over the long haul, shooting that many threes?
I think it depends on the quality of the three, whether they're hunting them down or whether they're in the flow of the game and who's taking those threes. I don't mind if it's in the flow of the game. What I mind is when they start hunting them and then they give up opportunities to score at the rim. They give up opportunities to get twos for the sake of trying to hit the home run ball. And that's what I think sometimes is their issue. But I think that the better their offense has gotten over the last couple of years, the better and more higher quality threes that they're taking. And in my opinion, I'm not, stomping my feet like this is terrible, but I want them to take the most quality shots. If those shots are threes, but there's times like the other game against Brooklyn when Hauser was, I think, 0 for 9, 1 for 9, and he kept taking them down. He's a high-quality shooter, and he hit that 10th one. And, it was a critical play, but I just think sometimes you might want to attack the basket. You might want to get to the free throw line. So that's the only problem I have. If you're going to be a three-point shooting team, you can't have it give it up for the sake of being soft in the middle and not rebounding, things like that. So to me, I'm not, angry with their three-point philosophy, but I do think they've got to mix it up a little bit more. And I think that they have two elite two-point shooters in Tatum and Brown. And it would not hurt every now and then to throw the ball into Tatum, to throw the ball into Cornet and get an easy two or an alley-oop.
Yeah. It just seems that there's a lot of heat checking when you ain't got no smoke going with these guys. Just taking threes that you usually see taken after you've made a couple. But they seem to take – it feels like there's a lot more of the – you don't really need to take this three, do you? Kind of shots from these guys as opposed to ones that seem to come about in the flow of the offense. But to your point, Gary, the thing that jumps out to me, and you really – I think you nailed it on the head, is that all this three-point shot taking has kind of made them a little soft in the middle. And I get it that you don't have Porzingis, and I get it that Al Horford ain't that same guy that he was 3, 4, 5 years ago. But damn, teams are looking like they punking him by taking away the middle, and without even trying hard to take it away.
Totally. I felt like the Atlanta game was, first of all, I thought Joe got out-coached. Okay, because Quinn Snyder was like, the only chance we have to win is to make it an ugly game and then make it a game where the paint. So Clint Capella started eating. Then I always mispronounce his name. Aquandu.
Yeah, I knew you talking about.
Aquandu. I always mispronounce his name. No disrespect. I always butcher. There's certain names in the league, and that's one of them that I have trouble with. But he was just feasting in the paint. They got mismatches. and then Dyson Daniels. And I just think the one play that I wrote about this is when Keaton Wallace, like it was 117. I think it was like 117, or sorry, it might have been 116, 113. And 40 seconds left, Atlanta needed a bucket. And he just drove into the paint and like kept going and was like, is somebody going to defend me? And then they didn't. He just flipped it up and in. And I'm like, where's the rim protection? He literally looked stunned that nobody challenged him at the rim. And then it was, obviously the Celtics didn't score again, and Okwandu got the tip for the winner. But to me, that was disturbing. And I think that, like you said, they got to get tougher in the paint. And I don't know if Porzingis makes things different, whether he started playing Xavier Tillman a little bit more to lay some hat. You got to prevent guys like Dyson Daniels from just slicing into the paint or going to the rim. And so they've got to send a message in that way. So I had no problem with the threes, but you can't just be a finesse team. And Atlanta was more physical. The Celtics were really sloppy with the ball. And Atlanta was like, the only way we have a chance to win is to punk you guys. And in the end, that's what they did.
Yeah, and I think we're starting to see that's the strategy that teams are taking with the Celtics, that we can't outshoot them, we can't out-athletic them, but we damn sure can put a hat on them and make them pay. I go back to the Indiana game, earlier this year, where the Pacers that were just a physically punishing team. You look at what Atlanta did; they were the more physically punishing team. And I just wonder, though, Gary. I mean, when I'm watching the Celtics play. At the beginning of the season, I looked at them and I saw them being very different than the defending champions that I've seen in the past. But now they look a lot like defending champions of the past from the standpoint of, we the champs, we know what this road looks like, and we know that we can get there and be the last team standing. But the difference between the great teams is that they don't play like that. They know that. They just don't play that way. The Celtics are playing as if they know that we don't really need to be super physical now. We don't need to do all those little things now, because we're going to be one of the best teams at the end of the day. And the way the East is just basically looking like Survivor out here, where only Cleveland and Boston are the only teams that are eating well, while everyone else is just eating scraps. They're not being pressed record-wise to clean up a lot of the stuff because they're right there with Cleveland. How concerning are you that the Celtics, they may be kind of reverting back to some bad habits, the kind of habits that a lot of NBA championship teams have that year after?
Yeah, the slow starts are a concern. 16-2 to Brooklyn, 16-2 to Milwaukee. And I think they kind of have this attitude like, we can come back on y'all. And they can miss many nights, and we can hit the three and we're going to out-3 you. But they're going to have to out-defend, out-rebound, and out-tough teams. And that's what I think that they're trying to get back. I think they've lost that a little bit. And I don't know what you do when you don't have, like Al Horford, like you said, was playing limited minutes this year. He's not an enforcer like that. Kata is out there, and he's doing some good things. He's also making some mistakes, and he can get in foul trouble. He's your only real enforcer out there. And then because they've stopped playing Xavier Tillman, that the first 6 minutes of that Brooklyn game where you missed all – you got – because teams, understandably, are going to leave him open. Like, no, Xavier, we don't trust you as a three-point shooter. You might hit one occasionally. He hit a big one during that game 3 against the Mavericks in the finals in that corner in front of the Mavericks bench. Mm-hmm. But teams are going to look at him and go, shoot that. And he's got to either A, start making them, B, he's not going to play because he's not stretching the floor, or C, Joe can put him in there to be kind of an enforcer, a guy to lay a little bit of hat, give some hard fouls, make sure teams are just not slicing into the paint and laying it in and doing that pretty stuff. Like, I just thought, like Dyson Daniels just caused so much havoc in that game. And that's like, I saw him play in Atlanta and I tweeted out like, wow, like I saw him play for Team Australia in the Olympics. Okay. He's always been a good defender. He was last year in New Orleans, he was kind of a deer in headlights. He wasn't ready, but Atlanta's kind of unleashed him, where offensively he's become a force, not a force like a superstar, but a guy who can get you 16, 18 points. It's like, whoa, who is this guy? Then he's a menace on defense. And when he pulled up and hit that elbow three in front of the Celtics bench, I was like, with confidence, he was 0 for 4 before then. When he hit that, I was like, wow, this is a different player. And I just think the Celtics have to understand, and I think they do, that they're everybody's Super Bowl, right? They're everybody's Super Bowl. The Warriors played really well against them, but they're also, in all honesty, they lost in overtime to Indiana. They lost by 6 to the Warriors in a game that they kind of let go, and they lost by 1 to Atlanta. So we're not talking about losing sometimes when they don't play well. They can play average and win. They played average. They played, 2.5 good quarters against Milwaukee and won. Yeah, maybe the second half of the quarter, in the second quarter, but they cut like a 17-point lead to 11, so you can count that. And then the second half, and they were able to beat the Bucks. So to me, we're not talking about, they're 10-3. Yep, they're 10-3, second best record in the East, one of the best records in the NBA, I think probably 5th or 6th. I think Oklahoma City's got 2 losses, and a couple other teams just have 2 losses behind Cleveland. But to me, they are good enough to play well and to play poorly and win. They have the 4th best record in the league behind Cleveland, Oklahoma City, and Golden State. So to me, they've got to address that toughness issue, the rebounding issue, even up the points in the paint, and figure out how to get more paint touches offensively to get out there and get those open threes. I don't have a problem if they're taking threes with those clean looks with their elite shooters, whether it's Peyton, but sometimes Peyton's getting to the point now where he's hunting them. We want to, if you're the Celtics, you want to chill on the hunting and Peyton, because I think Peyton's getting caught up in, here's Peyton. Oh boy, here we go. It's about to be a three fest.
He's feeling himself. He's feeling himself.
He's just throwing them up like Papa Shot. And it's like, Peyton, pass the ball, get a good positioning, set your feet, as opposed to I think he's hunting a little bit too much. Sometimes Derek is hunting a little bit too much. And obviously, we all know Drew. Drew will take a pull-up 3 off the break. And then Jayson, interesting game from Jayson against Brooklyn. Only took 6 threes, but hit 5 of them, right? Attacked the rim. Didn't take 13 or 14 threes. He took 6. I think he needs to be a little bit more selective in the three-point line. But I like the way he played against Brooklyn, and because I think he was a little bit off against Atlanta. But to me, I think they got little things to tie up: toughness, rebounding, points in the paint, maybe a little bit better selection of three-point shots. But I think they're okay. I mean, Jayson's at 38%. Jalen from 3, a little bit of a concern, under 30% at 29.5. Hauser at 32.8, but Hauser started slow last year. If you guys remember, he started slow last year. So that might be just kind of Hauser being a slow starter. If I recall, he had a real slump for about 6 weeks. It might not have been a start, but it was early, and it might have been mid-November to January, then he picked it up. But other than that, they're hitting 37% as a team. You can't. That's a very good percentage. I think they're okay.
PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks and do so with as little as 4 correct picks that can get you up to 100 times your money. PrizePicks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks is the best way to win real money this basketball season. Which players are going off? Which ones aren't? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on PrizePicks. Just download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today and use the code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game.
I'm still a little bit concerned about that center position. And I know things in theory are going to change when Porzingis gets back. But, I'm looking at Keita, I'm looking at Luke, and we're looking at Tillman doing what we do, which is watch a lot of the game. And I'm not feeling that great about these guys kind of holding a fort till Porzingis is back, because the one thing that when you look at the teams that have beaten him have done is they've been the more physical team. And Keita, he's got physicality in his DNA, but he's still learning how to be a regular rotation guy, let alone a freaking starter. And Luke, he's had some injuries, a few more injuries and bumps and bruises than we're used to him having. And so you've got the situation where they went into the season with question marks at the center position, and we're a dozen plus games into this thing, and there's still question marks about their ability to man that position. And if just Garrett, from your perspective, how big a deal is it the struggles that they've had at that particular position on the floor?
Well, Sherrod, I think they can survive, especially when they get Porzingis back. But I think what we're learning is like Horford, is going to be useful, but it's going to be particular. Now, he's playing about 27 minutes a game. That's not bad. 8.6 points, 5.5. Horford's has not been bad. And he's shooting 44% from three. Horford's giving you what you need, but you also have 22 other minutes in an NBA game, and you also have games that Horford does not play because he's played in 11 of the 13 games because of rest, because of the back-to-back situation. So you're going to need Keita, and you're going to need Kornet to step up. Keita, I thought, had a really good stretch. The games in Charlotte, I thought he was good. I think he's learning. He had a good game. The game in Atlanta, after a little slow start, he was good in Atlanta. But like you said, Sherrod, he's 25 years old. There's going to be a level of consistency. This is his first real long NBA stretch here. This is a guy who's kind of been he was in the Sacramento system. Listen, let's look at his numbers. He played 15 games as a rookie, 5 in the second year with Sacramento, and 28 last year. Okay, he's already at 12 games, and he's probably played more minutes this year than he did almost in his previous 3 years. He played 48 NBA games before this year. So that's barely just over a half a season. Mm-hmm. So you're asking him, hey man, go in there and give us 25 strong ones, give us 10 boards, get a couple of blocks, and don't make any defensive errors. Mm-hmm. But that's not going to happen. He is going to have situations where he is going to struggle. Mm-hmm. He's going to struggle on defense. He's going to struggle on offense. As I wrote, he doesn't have the greatest hands. I think there was a couple of games in Charlotte and Atlanta where they were trying to whip him the ball in the paint because they saw him open, and it's like you got to kind of feed him methodically. You can't just fire it in there to Keita because Keita doesn't have the greatest hands. And I'm sure once he gets more reps, his hands will be better, but he doesn't have great hands right now. So you got to feed him the ball slowly. So you can't maybe use him as a weapon like you did, like you'd like to. So for me, I think it's going to take time. Kornet's going to be Kornet, as we know. I think he is who he is. He's going to make a block here and there. He's going to score at the rim here and there, set a screen. That's about as best as you can expect. So if I'm the Celtics, you sign Tillman to kind of be an enforcer. I think I would use him, but you cannot expect Tillman to be shooting threes. Like can we scrap that right now? Like, can we scrap Tillman at the 3-point line? I just think everybody can't do everything. I think we all know that, Sherrod. We've all seen bigs in this league try to become 3-point shooters. I remember seeing my man Brandon Bass was trying to, Brandon Bass was the perfect.
BDB.
Yeah, I love Brandon, the consummate mid-range shooter, and he was
so good at it too.
And he was kind of getting pushed out the league, and so he decided he was going to try shooting threes, and with his style, it just didn't work, right? Yeah. And he doesn't need to. He didn't need to. So Tillman, in his Boston career so far, is 11 for 42 from the 3-point line. Okay, that's okay. That's not good.
No,
that's okay. That's about 26%. So can we stop the Tillman for 3 thing? Unless he just proves that he can knock him down from that, gets him in one spot. But I think this year he has struggled. 26%, 26% from the field, 21% from the 3-point line. But if you put him in positions to succeed, and Joe is good at doing that, make him an enforcer, make him lay some hat in the middle, hey, give some hard fouls. I think you'll get squeeze something out of Tillman as opposed to just relying strictly on Queta and if maybe Cornette. And I said Al, I think is fine, but Al's years as a center, I think are over. I think he's a 4. He's a stretch 4. He's a guy like they're not putting him on centers defensively. He was not guarding Nick Richards in Charlotte. Like they're putting him on 4s, so 3 or 4. So to me, I think you're just gonna have to. It might be time for a little bit more Tillman, but not from the 3-point line.
Interesting. Because there's a clear and undeniable need for them to be a more physical team. And Tillman, when you look at that bench, as far as physically imposing, is one of, if not the best option they have. It's interesting that, Gary, I remember there were pockets last season where there were questions about just the Celtics and their toughness, their physical toughness and things of that nature. And it feels like that discourse is back. And there's some receipts to go with the questions about their physical toughness. Is it simply just a matter of just putting body on body, or are there other things they can do to just be a more impactful team from a physicality standpoint?
I think the other guys also have to be physical. Jason, Jalen, I think they don't have a problem with that. They also have to rebound. Like, you can't let a team get 20 offensive rebounds. It's unacceptable. That's terrible, right? Terrible. I love rebound. I love the Celtics, but that was terrible. Like, to me, you can't have that happen. Now, I'm not saying it was a one-time thing. I'm not saying, but and they only allowed, I want to say, 6 against Brooklyn the next night. But Brooklyn wasn't really throwing the size. Claxton was kind of the only big. Brooklyn was kind of playing 5 out 2 at times. But Atlanta put them 2 horses in the paint with Capella and Aquandu, and then said, "What you gonna do?" Right? And then even had the kid. How do you pronounce the number 1 overall pick? Rosasier? I'm killing him.
I'm gonna just let you. I'm gonna let you marinate.
No, don't do that, man. Help me out here. Help a brother out.
Young fella.
Yeah, young fella. He got boards. Jalen Johnson got 10 boards. So when your swingmen and your wings are rebounding, it makes you a much better ball club. And to me, those guys, the Jasons and Jalen's, have got to step up, because you don't have Andre Drummond out there. You don't have a dude gobbling up 15, 16 boards. Like, Queta can do it here and there. Cornette's not a volume rebounder. Neither is Horford. We'll see what happens when Porzingis comes back. But they're going to need it's going to be a team situation. Drew, Derek, get in there and get your nose dirty and get them boards. Quit worrying about getting the ball back down the floor and running the ball. Get the rebound first, and then you can go out on offense, because I think too many times guys are ready to run, and then here comes an offensive rebound, or one guy says, "Oh, I'm just going to run right up here and get the tip," or I can anticipate the ball better and gets the rebound. I mean, I just remember the play against Atlanta, I want to say, where it might have been Larry Nance just getting an offensive rebound, and then him getting the ball back out in the corner and hitting a 3. I mean, I hadn't looked at Larry Nance's numbers.
Yo,
Larry
that was on his fourth made three, right?
No. Larry Nance from the 3-point line entering that game was 9 for 13. And this fool went 5 for 6. So this fool is 14 for 19 for the 3-point line this season. Like, Steph is like, damn, dude, you're a good 3-point shooter. Like, that's crazy. And I'm not saying it's a low, limited attempts. Okay, I'm not calling him Steph. I ain't calling him Reggie Miller, Ray Allen. I ain't calling him none of them dudes. But that's crazy. Larry Nance, known for dunking on Brook Lopez and known for his ups, is turning himself. So that just shows you how this league is changing and how it's changed. But to me, the Celtics have to be tougher. It's got to be a collective team effort because you don't have that enforcer in the paint. And many teams don't have that guy. This is not the 90s. This is not the 2000s where you had Anthony Mason and you had your boy Rasheed Wallace. You had dudes in there that were just like you had Kenyon Martin. You had dudes in there that was ready to throw hands. You don't have that anymore. And so that's the way the league has changed. That's fine. But you've got to do, or our friend Steven Jackson, I love to give Captain Jack a shout out. You didn't have them dudes that was just like, what's up? It's my ball, or you're not laying this up, no layups, So for me, I think they're going to have to do it collectively. It's not going to be a one-man effort.
Yeah, and when you talk about collective, more than one man type efforts, you look at the Celtics team, and they've got easily one of, if not the best starting five when they've got all their guys healthy. They showed that last season, and the fact that the band is back together, obviously they're still among the top groups. But their bench has been interesting this year. Jayson Tatum, after a recent game, talked about the Celtics bench is the best in the league. You've seen a lot of teams play, as have I. Would you consider them the best bench in the NBA?
I think they're pretty close. I mean, I think the team they saw earlier, Golden State's got to be up there with all the guys they throw out there because Steve Kerr is doing what he didn't do in the Olympics, and that's playing more than 9 guys. Suddenly Steve is hip to using all of his talent, but Golden State. But I think they got one because all of them, we talked about this earlier, have taken steps forward. Peyton Pritchard's taking a huge step forward. Stan Hauser, off to a slow start, but is going to knock down the threes. We're looking at Luke Cornett and Anemias Keita. Both have taken steps forward. Keita's been much more of an impact than I think any of us thought beginning this year. I think people thought he's going to be the number 3 center. Okay, that's fine. No, he's got some starts. He's playing major minutes at times. So I think that they have a solid bench. I don't know if it's a top bench in the league, but I do think that they have a lot of guys out there that can get some things done. Jordan Walsh has taken a step forward. He's not scoring a whole bunch, but he's playing a role, right? Now, ask me at the end of the year, it might be that Hauser starts knocking down more shots. Walsh is a bigger contributor, and he's comfortable with his minutes. Peyton Pritchard continues his 6th man of the year role because he's averaging 16 points a game. I mean, that's pretty impressive for a guy coming off the bench, and we'll see what happens when Porzingis returns and who goes to the bench. That makes the bench even stronger there. So I think there's a lot of reasons to like this bench. I don't think they're the best bench in the league, but I think I'll give them top 5, right?
Summertime is winding down, but the college football season will be in full swing before you know it. There's no better way to get your college football fix than GameTime, which is where you can find the best deals on college football game tickets, concerts, NFL, WNBA, and so much more. GameTime has a new feature called GameTime Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. GameTime Picks filters out the fluff, so show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. The one college football game I'm looking forward to seeing this year is when my alma mater, Syracuse University, comes to my neck of the woods and takes on the Boston College Eagles. There's a great selection of seats starting as low as, get this, folks, $3. That's right. $3 can get you in the building. Having the map of the stadium along with the different color-coded prices makes it super easy to find the best seats for your budget and not have to scramble all over the place on your app to do so. And you're covered by GameTime's lowest price guarantee, where GameTime will credit you 110% of the difference. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. Download GameTime today. What time is it? Game time.
I would put them borderline top 5. But I think, Gary, I think we've seen two teams, at least one team and maybe a second, whose second unit is, I think, to this point in the season has just been better. And that Golden State, they play damn near anyone that's getting a check, basically, on their roster. I mean, that's how impactful that their second unit has been, and it's kept those starters for the most part honest. I mean, just because you start don't mean you're going to go out there and play 30-35 minutes. They got 7 mouths coming off that bench that want to play too. And Steve Kerr, I give him credit. He's figured out that I'm not going to be able to beat teams the way I've done it in the past. It's going to have to be by committee. We're going to have to get lots of different players to step up and contribute and frankly position them to win games. And that's what they've been able to do so far this year. They got one of the best overall records in the NBA. They've been tremendous contributions with lots of different players. And that second unit has been among the best scoring second units in the NBA this season, in large part because they play more than most second units do as far as personnel. So you have a situation where the Celtics, while they might be getting good play from their second unit, I don't think they haven't elevated to the point where you look at them and think like, damn, they got him and him and him off the bench. To your point, Gary, Porzingis is the game changer. He becomes that one big presence that bolsters everything about this team. Your starting 5 gets better. Your second unit gets better. Play calls by the damn coaches get better because you got another guy that's a major mismatch for the opponent out there that you can exploit on a game-in, game-out basis. They just got to find a way to hold down the fort until, Porzingis is getting back, which, we've heard everything from, sometime next month, might be the start of the 2025 calendar year. But they've got to figure out ways for guys to be impactful until he gets back. And that second unit, they've done a solid job. But I would still say Golden State's second unit has been better.
Yeah. And I'm looking at Sherrod. I'm looking at the leagues. The Celtics are 24th in the NBA in bench scoring. Okay. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that they have a bad bench. It means that they're probably not getting as many overall minutes as some of the other benches. Because if you look at the top 10 scoring benches in the NBA, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Only 4 of those teams have winning records. So Golden State, Memphis, which are 1-2, Cleveland 13-0, they're 5th in bench scoring, and then finally Orlando's 9th, and they're 7-6. The rest of the teams, Utah, San Antonio, Portland, Charlotte, and Washington and Indiana, are all teams who are either losing or at 500. So that means, to me, when you look at bench scoring and bench production, a lot of those bad teams are playing all their guys because their starters aren't very good. The Celtics have probably the best starting 5 in the league, so that means more minutes for them and less minutes for the bench. However, I do think that they still have one of the top benches in the league, although Golden State is blowing anybody out of the water. They're averaging 58 points a game from their bench, which is crazy. 46% from the field, to me, that's impressive. But if I'm looking at the percentage, the shooting percentage, field goal percentage, the Celtics are still from their bench. Oh boy.
Golden State is up there.
22nd.
And Atlanta too.
Yeah. Atlanta's the number one because they're putting in your boy Kwandu, and that dude scores at the rim. They're putting in bigs, and them bigs score at the rim. So there's a reason for everything. But to me, just because they're 24th does not make them less. It just means they're not playing as many minutes because you got a great starting 5. So To me, they still have a very quality bench. I'm going to say Golden State. And Memphis, probably so too. I mean, but they've had to play a lot of those guys because they've had so many injuries.
Right. Absolutely. We're nearing the end of this, but before we get out of here, let's go around the league real quick, and we're just going to call this the big man segment. We're going to start with your boy, Joel Embiid, who sort of returned to the court, sort of. Man, $50 million don't get you what it used to, huh, G?
No, I don't. It's that inflation, man.
Damn, man. See, inflation is a man.
You can't get 50. Don't take you as long as it used to. It used to last you a minute. Now,
man, 50 million looking more like 50 cents right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn. What? I mean, makes sense of this to me, Gary, because I don't get it. Makes sense of what the hell is going on with Joel.
I think it's probably a situation where he really wanted to play the Olympics, and I think he was probably somewhat healthy there. He did, and then he probably took time, shut it down in those critical months after the Olympics, mid-August, all the way to probably early October, and came into camp and was like probably out of shape and was not ready. And and I think that Philadelphia, knowing how important he is to he's essential to the franchise. He just signed the 3-year, $180 million extension, if I'm not mistaken. I just think they're like, we've got to do whatever it is to get him back on the floor. And if that means he misses the first 10 games or 9 games, that's what we're going to have to do, because forcing him out there, what you going to do? Push him out there, then he really looks bad and he really gets hurt. Because the one thing you don't want is him tearing up one of those knees and having him have to have a year off. And at age 30, I think he's just turned 30. Him and Giannis are around the same age. 30-year-old big man with a torn ACL or MCL or patella tendon ain't a good look, and that's career threatening. So I think you got to bow down. You got to do whatever it takes to get him back on the floor. It's handled poorly. He should probably have not played in the Olympics if he was not healthy. I think the unfortunate part is about Joel Embiid is, my opinion of him, is that he's a top 75 player. I have not seen many bigs in the history of the NBA with his damn skill set. His ability to shoot the free throws, shoot the three, shoot for the mid-range, his touch. He is such a gifted player. I mean, God, dog, just seeing him over the last 7-8 years now, being in Boston, you've seen him. Like, when that dude's on, when he's right, he's so right. He's one of the top, to me, top 5 centers of all time. Like 5 to 7 centers when he's right. I'm not talking about overall when he's right. You put the Chamberlain and the Jabbar and the Russells and the Elijah Wands, and you want to throw Ewing in there. Like, if you could, some people consider Tim Duncan. Like, you could throw him in there, but Joel is in that conversation, top 5, top 10 with his skill set. But he's just blowing it, and you throw Shaq in there too. He's blowing it because, and it kind of reminds me of Shaq, although Shaq was more later in his career, lack of conditioning, right? Like, and at 30, Shaq was winning championships and still in his prime with the Lakers. At 30, Embiid's breaking down. And 30 is not promised. Everybody ain't LeBron. Everybody gonna play till 40. Like, your career is on the line. Like, you might not be playing at 36. How many bigs besides our friend Robert Parrish played 36, 37? Like, you don't get centers don't get that. All that pounding on your knees, your hips, 289, 300 pounds, body pounding. That's not going to last. He is not, he is not Vince Carter where you're always in immaculate shape. Like, so it's sad that that's going to be his legacy, is not playing as much as he should. Because when he's right, when I see him, like, that dude scares teams. When he's on, he gets to the free throw line. He's got the great touch. Like, it's not like Shaq. Shaq didn't have no mid-range game. Shaq didn't, you know what I'm saying? Shaq didn't have that. Shaq was whoop, whoop, dunk.
However,
like, Embiid has all the tools in his tool bag. It just don't want it, that can't get in elite shape, it's sad because I think we all want to see him healthy 3 or 4 more years. Okay, now you're 35, 36, it might be time to retire, but you're 30. You still got time left. But that's not promised. We all remember our friend T-Mac. T-Mac at 30 was about done. Like his body said, I ain't got no more left. There's a lot of guys out there. Your friend, and he got in trouble. He got out the league because he was acting a fool. But Deion Waiters talking about he could still drop 20 on teams. Is Deion Waiters 30 years old? I looked this up. Like probably just turned.
He's
been out the league. So. He turned, 3 or 4, and he's literally. Sorry, he's 30. Oh, he's 32. Oh, Lord. Okay. And he was out the league by his best. He was out the league by like 28. Like nothing's promised in this league. And I know he's going to be highly paid, and Philadelphia's going to do whatever it can to keep him on the floor. But this is terrible. Then Paul George can't stay healthy. It's like the Sixers are just a mess. The Bucks are a mess. The Sixers are even a worse mess. And even Maxey, and that's not his fault. But his hamstring is like damn. Like it's just they're a mess, and Embiid is a central part of that.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's no signs or exit ramps where you say, man, if they just do this, that'll make things a little bit better. They got to ride this out and hope that he can get right enough to help them, make a little noise come playoff time, because it ain't going to happen in the regular season. I mean, their goal really should be to just get to the playoffs and avoid the play-in game at this point. But if you're going to have your best player in and out of the lineup the way Joel is going to be for health and load management and all that stuff. So that's an issue. But, Joel and the Sixers are trying to figure out, exactly how to navigate his health. And unfortunately, Oklahoma City is doing a little bit of that of their own with Chet Holmgren and his injury and how that's going to keep him out for quite a while. Gary, how do you think that's going to impact that team, in both the short and long term? Short term, just being the rest of the regular season. Long term, obviously, is playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, a pelvic bone, a very dangerous injury, and Chet's not a big guy, and so you want to bring him back slowly in terms of just like you don't want anything happening to him, and he's a little bit frail. He's had some injuries in his career, missed his entire rookie year. But Oklahoma City's going to need another big. Hardenstein's not back either. So they're going to have to survive. The thing is, they have all the assets to get anybody they want in there through a trade. I think we'll see in the next couple of weeks how it all works out for the Thunder. They just have so much depth in the other positions, though. You think they'd be fine, but they're still searching for that difference-making center. I know Hardenstein, I think he's probably about a few weeks out. I think he's supposed to miss 6 weeks. So he's probably maybe late November return, early December, and you hope that works out for them. And then Holmgren, I think probably is going to be a couple of months on that injury. You can sign, there's guys like out on the street, Bismack Biyombo, guys like that. I'm not ripping Bismack at all, but there's free agent centers on the street. I saw Dwight Howard was clamoring to go to Oklahoma City because he's right. still trying to play. I don't think the Thunder will go in that direction.
No.
However, you can start signing guys. I know the 10-day contract's going to come up in the next couple of weeks too. You're just going to have to make do if you're the Thunder. They prepared for this, but they just unfortunately injuries are part of the game, and they're not a physical team. I think they can get by on being finesse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they're so deep at so many different positions. Guys that that are just simply coming into their own right now, right before our eyes. And when you look throughout the NBA landscape, and you're thinking about guys who are kind of coming in their own. Wemby comes to mind. Became the 4th youngest player in NBA history to drop 50 or more the other night, and Gary, I mean, this guy came in with a tremendous amount of hype, the kind of hype that if you can just come close to living up to it, you've had a good career, more likely than not. It seems the more you watch him play, the scarier he becomes, because things are starting to slow down and he's starting to do things that I think for the rest of the league has got to bring a little bit of fear in your heart, because he's really starting to assert himself as a guy who's not just, a really good young player, just a really good player who just so happens to be young. What are your impressions of Wemby and what he's been able to do so far?
So far, I think everything he's better at everything. Playing a little bit, couple of more minutes a game. His field goal percentage is up slightly. His 3-point shooting's up about a percentage and a half, almost 2%. Free throw shooter, he's a better free throw shooter, 87%. Pretty impressive there. Rebounds about the same. Assists a little down. The blocks 3.6 and 3.8, and is getting a steal, 1.3 steals. So, and only getting 2 fouls a game. So he's not a guy prone to fouling. He's scoring. He's only playing 31 minutes a game, so it's not like he's playing 38. There's a guy probably his age would. I know San Antonio's bringing him off slow, but he's making that jump. He's not making that dramatic jump, but he's making that jump. And obviously a 50-point game. What can you say about this guy? It's just going to be a matter of time before it's his league. I think everybody knows that. Mm-hmm. He has the right attitude. He wants to win. He plays hard. I don't think he's out there trying to jersey swap after every game and take dudes' sneakers and sign them and all that. He's not doing that stuff. He wants to. He's a killer, and that's a great thing for him. And I think it's just a matter of time when San Antonio builds a team around him. And they're 6-6. The Spurs aren't bad. They're not good, but they're not bad. They got a chance of that play-in. I think that's good for him to be just that guy. And I think he's comfortable with that role, and I think he's going to be fine.
Yeah. Wemby is certainly all that and then some. When you think about the top players, not just top young players, but top players in general, he's been that impactful without question. Well, that is it for this week's episode of
Hold on. No, that's not it. Big game on Saturday. The brawl for it all. Syracuse and Cal.
What?
3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific time for you guys on the West Coast who follow us. It's the brawl for it all. Washburn against Blakely. Cal, let's go. We're trying to get bowl eligible. So a huge game for bragging rights for a whole 12 months. Look, we're in the same conference now, so let's go Bears. That's all I wanted to say. I know. Sorry, Sherrod, y'all had to come to Boston and take an L. That's terrible.
Gary,
come all the way up to Chestnut Hill and take the L. But big game on Saturday. We'll see what happens, but yeah, let's go Bears.
You talk about Cal like they nice. Listen,
we could have been undefeated. Let's not talk about what could have been.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda.
If we had a capable kicker, we could be undefeated right now. And I only want to talk about that Miami game, but we're going for bowl eligibility, and we got the orange. And I'm sure Syracuse will show out. I'm sure there's a lot of Cuse fans on the West Coast that will come out for that game. So it should be a great environment.
I just know that y'all trying to be bowl eligible. We there. We already checked that box off. So we're good no matter what happens. Uh-huh. Smashing y'all would be better, but we good regardless. So let's hope that y'all can get one more win this year so that y'all can join us among the bowl eligible fraternity. Hopefully y'all can join us.
Yes, you're right. You're right.
Because Gary, we got the velvet rope. We're on the other side of the velvet rope, and we're looking at you like, hey.
All right. We'll be in the VIP section too. We'll get there.
So y'all just stand in line, and maybe y'all get over the velvet rope and get into the club like we are. Maybe y'all might get that this season. Ooh. Man, look at here. Golden, the cow cubbies. Man, look at here. Y'all trash. Y'all trash. And on that note, we're going to get out of here. Thanks for tuning in to another edition of the Big Three NBA podcast. For Gary Washburn and those cow cubbies who's going to catch a fat L in the crib this weekend, it's Sherrod Blakely, and we are out.